You know what? Today, we're going to just take it back a level. We're going to go all the way down to where this thing started for me. And buckle in. Awesome. Awesome. Because I got some toys to play with. Don't really know how to use them yet, but that part doesn't matter. So, where this podcast begins, as you see the title, hopefully, and I don't know that I've got everything going correctly. However, this is episode 1 in the podcast, and basically it's about thinking bigger. And, to get into that, how long does it take to start changing how you think? And I think what really comes down into play is how long did it take me to start thinking like I think? And getting a little older now, so I'm starting to look at things a lot differently. You know what I mean? I'm looking at it a bigger lens, and with the internet prevalently available, like everything is just out there. As far as anything that you want to see, dream of. I mean, you got as far as I call it, the 14-year-olds driving the Lamborghinis. Which, come on, man, when we were kids, like a Lamborghini was something that rich people had, and you know, Cannonball Run showed up, and not that a Lamborghini's a big deal as a car guy. I mean, they're almost a joke now, but I'm just saying, for reference, when I was a kid growing up, I mean, somebody like that just, that was like something that existed in a poster, not actually not actually in real life, right? I'm trying to get to my stuff here and see if I can see what's going on here. So just give me 1 second. All right, I got a little bit of an idea what's going on here. I can't really see you guys. I will be able to catch comments because I don't really know the equipment that well yet, but I'm going to turn this little comment thing on. Okay, so at least I can catch your comments. All right, so where I was talking about was in the beginning, like for what set my mindset was survival, because I remember when I was a teenager, really young, like a little bit on the younger side of a teenager. I'd left home, hated growing up, hated everything about my house. Anyway, I think we can all relate to this, or some of us can. Anyway, so long story short, I just want to be out there, man. I want to rock and roll on my own. So I just left. It's like, screw it, I'm done. So I'm still in high school, you know what I mean? I'm starting high school, actually. That's how young I was. And it was during the summer. And so the first thing I knew is I knew I needed a job. I had to have a job. So I went and applied. They were building these new houses. And so I went and applied. And the guy's like, I mean, he's back then, can you breathe? Yes. Well, then pick up that board right there. And if you can, you're hired. So basically, they give me a job. That was on like a Monday, and I asked the guy, I said, man, when do I get paid, brother? I need to get paid. I need to get rich. Before I get rich, though, I'd like to eat. And the guy's like, man, you get paid on Fridays. I'm like, shh. So anyway, Friday comes and goes, and I don't get paid because they hold back a week. And I go without eating for probably until the following Friday. Like, it was rough. It was rough. I had nowhere to go, so I'm like camping out under the cross space, this new built house. Just like, I'm a kid, like I'm roughing it. I'm cool. I'm not scared of this. So I'm just like, psh, I can do this. Beats anything from going home. So anyway, I'm trying to survive. But I remember after about the fourth or fifth day, man, like the hunger went away, and it's like I just got this thing in my mind where I'm like, you know what? One day, one day, I will own everything I see. I will dominate it. I will take it. I will never ask anybody for a paycheck. And so I think this is where it starts for me. And so that Friday, I get the paycheck. I go across the street, go spend it at a gas station, getting all kinds of junk crap. But that's the beginning, right? So that's the beginning of my real process on learning anything financial, which was survival. And I think that served me well, honestly. I mean, it served me well because it turned me into an animal. And I became an animal. Like, I became an animal. As soon as that I went from there to like crazy ass working at a sawmill. I mean, man ass work, dude. people getting killed. Like that place was crazy, and I'm getting literally paid for nothing. And let me decline that. Can't believe people are calling me. Why? They must not know how important I am. Yeah, right. Yeah, that's how important I am. I still get phone calls. Or should I say unimportant? But anyway, so I'm at the sawmill, man. People are getting killed, but it's like a crazy job. I forget, man. It was only a couple bucks an hour. I'm thinking must have been around 88, somewhere in that neighborhood. I don't know what whatever minimum wage was, we got like 10 cents more than that. It's crazy. Got this girl. I mean, we had to end up having a couple kids, getting married. And God, dude, it was just destitution, man. You get like $180 a week, dude. I'm talking hard ass labor. And I hit a car lot, dude, in the early '80s, late '80s, whenever it was. I wasn't old enough in the early '80s. And long story short, I get there, and all you got to do is be friendly to people, and you make a little bit of money, and then and it goes. And the first job is paying me $50 a round, so I'm just like, shit, I'm gonna get rich. All I got to do is sell 400 cars in the next 2 weeks, man, and I can be like, I can go join the country club. I'm like 18, 19 years old, whatever. And and I got used to that, right? So I had that survival mode, and then it kind of went into, oh, I can thrive. I can find a profession I can thrive in. End up getting with a real car dealership, and started learning how to make gross profit. You know what I mean? That's where you actually professionally sell, and you're holding some profit in. And I started making decent paychecks. I'd make $1,000, $1,500, $2,000. We're talking, shit, what is that? 30 years ago now, dude. And at my age, I was rich. Like, you don't even understand. Like, I know today these kids are like, oh, I've been on YouTube for 15 minutes and I'm worth $7 million. No. I'm talking like these guys. Back then, I felt like I had just like hit the lotto. Like, it was crazy how much money I felt like I had. But I didn't really learn any lessons. All I did was I learned how to survive, right? And then I learned how to thrive a little bit, I guess. I mean, I was able to make some money, but what was I doing with the money? I was just, me and my girl, we would just go like waste some money at Blockbuster. Yes, Blockbuster. Actually, it was before Blockbuster became a thing. We were still getting it from the regular VCR place. But and go out to eat, waste, whatever. You know how dumb kids are. We're just being dumb. Like, if we want to go to a store, we just go blow our whole paycheck. I mean, we just don't even think about it. It's just completely absent of our brain that next week is coming down the pike. And so I went from that kind of phase of my life till one guy was sitting me down, and he was like, man, this is like in my early 20s. He's like, hey, man, the car lot guys. Man, let me smoke a cigarette here, man. So have you ever heard of lot finance? Of course, I'm a dumb kid. I can't even count to 10, really. I'm like, no, man, what is that? So they're like, oh, so back then they're smoking. So look, man, you buy a $500 car, and then you sell it to some poor guy, and you collect a paycheck, and you collect a payment from him weekly. It's weekly. You don't do the monthly, it's weekly. And you charge him like $50 or $75 a week, and he pays you for the rest of his life. And basically, for your $500 investment, you make like $1 million. I mean, that's what I heard. So I was like, are you kidding me? Sign me up tomorrow. So I'll get rich. And that's where my mindset, I was like, I'm going to get rich. And dude, that doesn't work out like that, man. I opened up my first car lot. First problem you got is you think you're somebody and you're not. Second is, as a kid, you have no experience buying and selling cars, so guess what? You get your ass handed to you every time you raise your hand. And then on top of that, I don't have the right attitude. It's like a flat tire. Till you fix that, you don't go anywhere. I think I got this chip on my shoulder. I had a rough childhood. Blah blah blah. That shit never works. Then the whole attitude thing behind it, like it just was not gelling. I did make some money though. I did make some money. I did pretty good actually. I did really well financially. Not like I didn't become Donald Trump or nothing, but I did. You know what I mean? I was doing okay for a 20 something. And that was all good. And then, bam, relationship's over. Oh, shit. So then we get into the divorce situation. And, we got a couple kids. And then, I hate her. She hates me. Blah, blah. You know how stupid you are when you're 20, right? And so that becomes my obsession. I'm like, screw you. She's like, screw you. So anyway, I'm like, you know what? So car lot's over. So I end up going a different direction. I get this huge job. And at the end of the day, I got this killer job, and I was like, it's my first real. I don't have to do my own shit anymore. Somebody's gonna pay me for my time, So I'm able to average about 10 grand a month. But that's before taxes. So I'm not, in my mind, I'm doing okay, but I'm not like rich. But I still have all these bad habits, right? Like I'm blowing cash and I'm just making stupid decisions. Hey, y'all want to go to where you want to go on vacation this month? I mean, we're Rockefellers. We can just go anywhere we want to go. So, and I'm trying to overcompensate for the stuff with the kids, and you know how that goes. So through my 20s, don't really learn much there except, yeah, I can make some money, I can gather some cash, but I don't know what to do with it, basically. And I basically, no matter what I get, it wouldn't matter. You could have handed me $5 million, and I would have found a way to spend it within a reasonable amount of time. I mean, hey, listen, I know the average person's like, you give me $5 million, dude, I'm set for life. But you're really not if you don't have the right mindset for it. I mean, I'm being transparent with you guys because, like, I really want this podcast to, like, I've been waiting to do this one because it's like real close to me. It's kind of a passion thing. But yeah, so I go through my 20s and score this, score. It's all it is just scores. Hit my 30s, doing good, become a big shot, blah blah blah. GMing, doing this, doing that. I mean, getting some stuff, crazy stuff done in the car business. And once again, it's just paychecks, but there's no real purpose to it. And then finally, in 2008, we had that big market crash, dude. I lost all my toys. I lost all my toys. It sucked. Um, and you just couldn't maintain the idiocy that I was living on, right? Because I didn't really have a plan before '08. I just went ahead. I was just living. You know what I mean? I'm just like, oh, psst, I can make money every day of my life. I don't give a shit about nothing or nobody. I don't need you. I don't need nothing. I can just do it. I don't need nothing from nobody. I am self-made. Will always be self-made. No one can take that away from me, except the real estate market can. And people can stop buying cars, and the market can shut down. And as we found out recently, the entire world can possibly shut down. So I guess I really wasn't prepared for that. A little bit on the stupid side, really. But so '08 comes and goes, and I start wholesale, and I'm just like, screw this. Hey, people. Hey, real estate. I hate all this shit. I'm just gonna. All I need to do is just make my chunk and roll. I'm good with making my chunk and roll. I wish there was a way to turn off my notification. My phone just will not stop blowing up. Meanwhile, let me check right here. Probably nobody even watching, but okay, I don't see any comments. All right. Of course, I don't know that I'm looking in the right place, but whatever. So the next little phase comes around, and I'm doing pretty good. I'm kind of bored though, to be honest, because you get used to that lifestyle where you're, what's the word? You're used to just getting stuff done, and at the end of the day, you kind of start missing it, man. You miss all the closing deals. I'm not penciling deals. I'm not bossing the finance guy. I'm not being the big shot anymore. I'm just like riding around in my truck, telling people this shit's worth that, and it's good money in it, but it's kind of like it's not really rewarding. So one day I'm deciding I was going to do a YouTube channel, but not for the reasons you think, because I'm not forward thinking. So I'm just doing it because one day I was drinking too much and I was playing around with this Mustang and I couldn't remember how to put this bumper back together. And I thought, man, if I just recorded myself taking this thing off, I would always know how to put it back on, and I can use that YouTube because they don't care about how much remember back in the day, you had a like everything that was video just slowed your computer down. So I'm just thinking, well, I'll just put it on their site. Then if I ever need it, I'll just go to it. So this spawns the YouTube thing. So I'm just kind of cruising around doing that, and then next thing I know, man, I start getting all these, people are talking to me, man. They're like, hey, what's up, dog? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? At first, I thought I got in trouble with YouTube because they sent me this notification. So I told Jennifer, I was like, hey, man, just tell them they can kiss my ass. I don't need their shit anyway. She's like, no, 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 no. It's not like that. They want you to be their partner. I was like, of course they do. Car guy first. So they offered it, and I remember we're talking way back in like 13 or so. And the guy's like, hey, or the YouTube's like, hey, man, we're going to give you like whatever, 1/10 of what I didn't even calculate in my brain. So I get up to like, I made like $10. And every day I'm like checking it. I'm like, yes. I'm doing deals on the side now for $50,000 worth of cars a week, but all I care about is the $3 coming from YouTube. Like, to me, like, this is like the newest, coolest thing because it's all found money, right? I'm just like, this is the first time I don't have to work for something. I just get it for free. So it was a big deal. And as life progresses, I do some of that, but I don't understand anything about video. I don't understand video production. I mean, I'm basically walking around with one of my tablets, which looks like a 20-inch TV, just shaking and talking and walking around. Like, it is the most wretched, ungodly video scene you've ever seen. Like, this would be The Hills Have Eyes meets Wrong Turn video production. Like, this is where it's at, but not their actual movies. The guys that are portrayed as the characters putting together a video feed. Like, that's how bad my video feed actually was. Now, through time, like, I learned this, I learned that, I figured out how to put a few things together in video, and still didn't really grasp it, you know what I mean? But because it makes me more aware of, let's see here, let me switch back. I think I just switched something here. There we go. There we go. I don't know if I switched myself off or what I did. Are we still rolling? I think we're still rolling. Hope we're still rolling. Who knows? So anyway, long story short, I switched myself. I'm sorry. Let me change that. I'm starting to watch YouTube a little more, and I get turned on to. I started looking for like personal development stuff because I had those strokes in 17. By the way, just a quick warning: don't drink energy drinks, go to the gym, and eat like shit. It is a bad combination. Just take it from the car man. But anyway, so I have these 2 strokes, and basically that night, I mean, I remembered I was like so screwed up. I was like, God, if I'm gonna die, let me just die. Don't leave me a vegetable. Just pull the plug. Like, that's where I'm at in life. Like, this is 2017, and after that kind of happens, I'm like, damn, man. Like, I kind of start recovering. I'm able to get all my shit back, and it's all working. But the one thing that never went away was life was almost over. And I was like, damn, man, this really is like a poker game that you just get up and leave the chips and everything stays. And then it all started changing. It was like, the money's not enough. Like, right? I made money, but for what? To what end? To what means? Like, what good did it do? I mean, I blew it all. I didn't do anything with it. I didn't make myself wealthy. I didn't make, what is the word? I didn't create long-term wealth for the family. What is that called? Generational wealth. Didn't cause any generational wealth. All I basically did was live for myself, made plenty of money, spent it on the women that I found, that kind of sort of thing. I know I'm not proud of it, but that's what the way of life was. So anyway, I start this self-development thing. This is back in 2017, really 18, and I start with Jim Rohn because, back in the day when I was in car sales, they'd always have Jim Rohn up. So I was like, okay, he's a safe bet. Zig Ziglar. You can go through. Tony Robbins, even though I never listened to him, I would see him on TV. I was like, all right. Okay, so we can take a handful of people and kind of start assessing where to start this shit at, right? How do you straighten life out and, all this kind of craziness. So I started with Jim Rohn, and that kind of led me down the road. Then one day I happened on, I was like, Tony just really irked me. I don't know, something about him. And it was just like he was just so nice, and car business people just aren't nice. I mean, if I was like, if I walked up to anybody in my lot and I was like, "Look, man, we need to hug it out, bro. We need to just jump and clap," and it probably is good for everybody that's involved, but it just doesn't set well with, like, you know what I mean. We're just not that crew. But I did listen to him, and I was like, damn, he's got some good points here. Maybe I am pissed off about this. I'd listen to him, and I'd be like, all right, man, I need to call my mom and be like, Mom, you're pissing me off. Dad, you're pissing me off. I said, but anyway, the list got so long. But anyway, you can't be. Tony's good for, like, feeling good, but at the end of the day, I mean, I almost died, dude. So it wasn't really about feelings anymore. Like, I don't know. The feeling good wasn't going to be enough. Just wasn't going to be enough. So I was like, all right, man. So I kind of, I really like Jim Rohn, man. He was kind of like hard hitting. He's back in the, like, 70s, early 80s. I don't know, really. I don't know. I think he died in, like, the early 2000s, somewhere around there. I'm not sure. But anyway, he put out really good content, and, basically he's like, all right, man, you need discipline. I'm like, yeah, I got that. He's like, the ground will not sow itself. I'm like, yeah, I need to go out there, man. I need to get some shit done. I'm like, well, rolling. I'm plowing, man. I'm down with Jim Rohn. I'm going. At the end of the day, I'm like, wait a minute. I'm kind of been doing this shit all along. But I think what I really like, I really don't have my purpose, Jim. So, like, I kind of like had to start looking again. I was like, I don't really have my purpose in life. I love my kids. Yes, I text them every day, tell them I love them. The people in my life know they're special to me, even though they think I'm kind of a dick sometimes. But they're still special to me. But I needed that purpose. So one day I happened to click on the YouTuber, and I was going to go to Jim Rohn and start taking notes and fall asleep, take notes. And boom, out pops Grant Cardone. I'm like, Grant, the hell's he doing on YouTube and personal development? Last time I seen him was at a Ford dealership. Not personally, he heard his name. I heard him talking. They were talking about his sales stuff. And back in the day, we used to be doing, like, when it came down to selling, it'd be like, all right. And you'll see some of my old videos. I was talking about this stuff. You would be like, hey, the world is you're an actor and the customer sets the stage. So if he has a lisp, then I have a lisp. If if he talks like a British guy, then I might, so do I. Terrible introduction, but you get the point. And there's all these games, like, you have to learn how to play to sell cars, and it's, if I could, would you? And it's like a Foursquare thing where it's like, well, if the payment goes down, the down payment goes up. It's the Foursquare, and all these games. Well, back in the day, Grant Cardone was like, oh, no, that's not the right way to do it. Of course, we're all making money the old way. Not we're all making money. That's the way we're all taught. So I remember him being kind of controversial back in the day, but people liked him. So I was like, all right, let me check him out. And man, this fool's getting on a Gulfstream jet. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? You're on a Gulfstream jet. So anyway, I started listening to him, man. And he gets like this huge real estate. I mean, the guy was like stupid successful. I mean, I cannot take anything away from my man. He got it done, and I can't take anything away from him. But then I started listening to what he's saying. And he's like, man, we all been programmed wrong from birth. We all learned the wrong stuff about money. We all did this. And, it's starting to make sense. I'm like, man, I never really had a conversation with my parents. I never really talked to my teachers about this stuff. Hell, I never talked to my employers about it. The women I've been around, and we never really sat down and talked about how are we going to build our wealth. Like, this conversation never really happened. And so I started really consuming his content. Not that I was too, I wasn't too taken back. I mean, the guy earned what he's got. Great, he's got a jet. Great, he's living a lifestyle. I'm so happy for him, and I want him to do better and better and better because he's really doing great work sharing that message out there. So good for him. But I had to look at how it was going to apply to me. Like, what could I do what can I take from his information to make my life better? Like that's what I was trying to figure out. Like I'm trying to get on a different path here. And this is where this whole podcasting came up. So I started thinking, well, I'm a normal dude. Like most people can probably relate to me at some level. They'll be like, yes, yes, he's the car man. We know him. We've known him for years. Yes, he says bad words occasionally. Yes, he probably doesn't give a about a lot of, but I try to help people out. Generally, a good person. Work my ass off. I do all those things, but I am not a multi $100 million guy. I'm just a guy that's, if I stop working at some point, I'm gonna run out of the little cash I got, and eventually sell the few assets I got and sell all my toys I got. But anyway, there's a short period of time down the road that I'm a destitute, broke person. Now, it would take me longer than most people, but it doesn't matter. The same result is there. I will eventually run out of cash because why? I didn't build the passive income and I didn't look forward enough and I didn't think big enough. And that's what today's episode's about is how big can you think? So I got to thinking, man, I was like, dang, I do have a YouTube platform. Even though I just use it for car repair videos, sometimes I get on and rant and rave about the car dealerships, and sometimes I rant and rave about a little political crap sometimes. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's just really just a place for me to hook up and be friends with my folks, and kind of build my brand a little bit. And so I decided, man, where could I start on episode 1? Like, what would be the goal? What could be my goal? What could I possibly do to, what could I possibly do to, what would be a huge bang difference? Like, can I do? And I got to thinking about it. I was like, all right, man, let's put a number on this. Because, most people are going to watch this. We are definitely not in the Grant Cardone world and the Tony Robbins world. He claims he's got 650 million. And I like the dude Alex. I like him because to me, I can connect with Alex pretty easy. He's like, man, I'm living in a gym at 24, got nothing. He's worth 100 million 6 years later, but he's very transparent about how he did it. So, I mean, there's a few of those guys that, I can definitely connect with. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what they did. It just matters what I'm going to do. So, here's what I was thinking. So, I did the math backwards, right? So, let's talk about this. So, in our world that we live in, people are like, "All right, man, what do I need? Like what is rich? Like how much is rich?" Of course, to me, when I was 19, rich was $500 and nothing to blow it on. But that's not rich anymore. So the older I get, you know what I mean? It's like, is $1 million rich? No, because I can debt that out tomorrow. That's not rich. Not only can you go in debt you can go in debt for $1 million on a stupid ass house. You can go in here in Virginia, you can be down 2 or 3 mil on a house. Like it's crazy. Like you like. It ain't nothing fancy either. It ain't like you're going to pull up and people are going to be like, oh my God, what do you do for a living? They'll be like, man, I can't believe you paid that much for that shit. But anyway, what I'm saying is $1 million really isn't the target. So I was thinking, all right, so I kind of looked up Forbes and let's just see here. Let me just see if I can, go online. So, all right. How much do I need? Let's just say to retire. Because then you're old anyway, and like you don't even want to. How much do I need to retire? Okay. Retirement calculator. All right. Here we go. How much do I need to retire? Okay, get the retirement planner finds out. Okay, comprehensive. Okay, all right. I ain't gonna do all this shit. Let's get out of this. Okay. Oh, here you go. Here's some questions. Stuff people ask. can you retire at 1.5 million, comfortably? Now, see, I got this thing. Is 1.5 million? Can you read that? Is 1.5 million enough to retire at 60? Yes, you can retire at 60 with 1.5 million. Now, I think they're okay. So I was saying about 6% return on $1 million. So that would be about 60, and so they're hitting them at 90,000. And I think the average person making 90,000 a year, if there's nothing else, like they don't have a mortgage coming out of that, they don't have to pay insurance, pills, any of that stuff. If you just had 90,000 a year to pay for whatever vehicle you're going to drive, whatever living expenses and traveling, you could pull that off at $1.5 million. But let's face it, man, you're not really thriving at that level, or it seems to me that you're not thriving. I I think my kids would cost me more than that. So let's see, that's not going to work. Here's another question. Uh, how long will 200,000 last retirement? Assuming you need 80,000 a year to cover your basic living expenses, your 2 million would I'm sorry, with 2 million last retirement. It would last 25 years with no inflation. So guys, clearly $1 million or $2 million cash laid away. Now forget your expenses to get there, but this is just cash laid away. It's not going to help us. Like, I mean, yeah, I'd rather have it than not have it, but you're not like living large and it's the end of your life, right? We're over 50, so it's like it's not like yeah, see 60. So this guy's turning 60 years old, like he's not there. Like he can live decent, but the problem is if something happens. What if he contacts, and I don't miss anybody, and I pray for everybody that has anything drastic happen to them. But what if cancer hits? And it's one of those crazy, and you hear it all the time because of the way these assholes do it. But, that bill is 20 grand or 10 grand or whatever. I mean, and this guy has worked for 40 years. He's got $2 million, and he's basically living on 120 grand a year. And now he's paying 20 grand a month for a pill. I mean, how effed up is that? That is effed up. Like and like you can't make it. And then what happens if someone sues you? Let's say, whatever. I don't know, whatever you got into something, somebody sues you, and it's not even your fault. But because you're the one with the money, guess what? I can tell you from the car business. I've been sued. Someone won $1 million lawsuit on me. I was just named it. I was the GM. The car dealership got sued. Our insurance had to pay it. But we got sued because one of our salespeople, the Taliban hairband, we had a guy that he had a beef with another guy, and he faxed the thing, and it said, I'm not even gonna say the guy's name because I might get sued again. But he put Bin Laden at the end of the guy's name, and he just faxed it to another dealership, and they all laughed. And I'd be damned if we didn't get sued. It was like more than that, but that's what they settled on, was $1 million. And so that can happen. So that wipes you out. And so in my mind, as I get a little older, I'm thinking, I don't think 2 million is gonna do it. So I was listening to some of the big shots, I was listening to Grant talking. He's like, apparently the number he likes is 10 million. And I think there's some truth behind the $10 million number, because if you thought about, if you had to, if something drastic happened where you physically and you had to pay all the medical to survive, I could see where, I'm not saying that would happen to you, but I'm just saying if it did, $10 million would come close to shielding you about anything they would charge you. I'm just being realistic. It's not about buying a Lamborghini. It's just like, okay, if some shit went down, how long could you last? Because now you're 65, 70 years old, whatever your age is. And now you've only going to be living for another whatever amount of years. And not only you need to take care of yourself, you want to leave something for your kids, right? So in my mind, $10 million to me, just sitting here seems like a lot of money, but like when they present it to you on the level of shit that can go wrong, it doesn't really seem like a whole lot of money. Uh, so my next theory was, okay, well, what about 100 million? I mean, Can you do 100 million? I mean, I don't know. Can you? I've never done it, but I mean, what would happen at 100 million? And you know what? To be honest, for an individual just trying to retire, I can't imagine that anything over $10 million. If you didn't want anything else, I can't imagine that not being enough. Uh, but that being said, I'm too young to go to tap out at that level. So what I'm going to do is this. My goal on this podcast, because people have done it before, I've done the math. I know what I would have to make in order to do it. So where I want to hit, I don't know how I'm going to do it right now. I'm just telling y'all, like my episode one, podcast one, my goal is to hit 100 million. Now, to be honest, I got no idea how to do it. I know that I can I get some social media play, you know what I mean? But I don't know how to really exploit this at such a level that it would pay that kind of money, but it's done every day. So I just got to be better at my craft. Like, I've got to figure out how to skill up. And this is what I'm kind of hoping is on my podcast is that people um, at some point or another will, they can join in and help, like, and not help me, but like give me advice, because this is what this is about. Like, I'm ready. I got to make a goal that's so big that I just got to do it. It's got to be so big that I just can't wrap my head around it. And honestly, I can't wrap my head around it. I can't wrap my head around jets and all that shit. I mean, it just seems too big. But I know I got to. And I know that I thought too small to start with. So I don't know. Anybody got any advice on this? Like, I'm probably not. They're like, "What, man, dude? You're crazy, bro." I don't know. Maybe I am crazy. Maybe I'm not. I'm not sure yet. But I guess I will find out eventually. Um, and this is where the podcast is going to come in. So I'm going to examine the 24-hour millionaire. This is the basis, the dissection of this. So I don't think there's one move that I could do to put myself into the $100 million play. I don't even think that's I guess it is possible if you. I mean, you know what? It really is possible if, let's just say, you had 100 million and you bought $100 million item that you could upsell. You could easily make 100 million. If you were making money on money exchange, you put 100 million out and the market dropped, you flipped up, boom, you could do it. There's all kinds of ways that if you've got the money to play that you could do it. Or if you could get a portion of that 100 million, leverage it into something that's worth even more money, like the huge real estate deals they do, like in the big real estate markets. But I'm not really positioned for that. So what I got to do is I got to get myself in the game to be able to go after the game. Y'all follow me? Probably not. Y'all are like, dude, this dude's nuts. And maybe I am crazy, but this is what I think is a challenge, and this is what I want to go after. So I don't know. The big question is, and I'm going to be transparent too. Like, if I make a big head, I'm going to get on here and tell y'all about it. But this is like where I'm going. Like, I want 100 mil. Like, I want to hit that bracket. I kind of want to do the Billy thing, but I just can't even process the billion thing. I just can't even process it. I can process a million. That's no big deal. But I can. It's a little harder for me to see how to even put together $10 million. Because to me, that is a huge amount of money. I've never put together anything even close to that at one time. I have managed over that inventory before, but that's different. That's different than saying, I have $10 million in my checking account. That's a whole different ball of shit there. I mean, that's something completely different. So anyway, the 24 hours is about that discipline that it takes in that 24-hour window. Like, what will I have to do to get this crazy? Like, who do I need? First off, what was Grant say? Who's got my 100 million? But even past that, like, am I ready? Like, if you dumped 100 million, am I ready for that right now? And the answer is probably, I don't think I've done enough work for it. Like, I don't think I've prepared for it. My mind's not there. Like, there's all kinds of things that I would need to do to be ready and become that person that's worth $100 million. I don't think I'm there. And that's what this podcast is going to be about. Like, what does it take to get there? And a lot of things I'm going to examine are morning routines, like daily, like time management, um, the goal writing. Like I'm addicted to the 2 times a day thing now. Like I love the dual goals and write your wins and all that. I'll give Grant Cardone that one. He nailed that shit. That has accelerated a lot of things for me. That one thing and stuff I never even thought about it's really pushed me along faster. So if you guys ever get a chance, matter of fact, tomorrow when I come on here, I'll put a little bit of that up. I'll show you my one of my planners because it's about the planners. So that's what this is going to be about. It's going to be about what can I do in the next 24 hours. So the game starts today, like November 1st. We can look at my channel right now and we can say, okay, well, this dude is at I forget how many thousands today, but whatever the graph is, like the graph goes up and down. If that graph doesn't go straight up, then I'm bombing here. Like I'm bombing big time. And that's what I'm gonna need to do. I'm gonna have to figure this out because I want this. Like I really do. Does anybody else want to do this with me at the same time and see what happens? I kind of want to. I'm gonna get all like plugged in, dude. Like I'm gonna reach out to these big guys that do this big money shit, and I'm gonna see like how like what can I do to extend, become more than I am right now. Like that's what this is about. How can I literally become more? So, any advice on that? I would love to hear it. Let's see. I think that's about it for today, guys. Um, I'm looking. I can't believe. Do I have? Oh, I don't know if I have any messages or not. Good question. I don't know. I don't know, and I apologize if you guys sent things because I have to get my guy over here to show me where the comments are at. I thought I knew where they were at, but let me see what this does. Oh, no. All right. Don't see anything there. Oops. Scoreboard. Wrong shit. Wrong button. All right. I don't know. I don't know. Anybody that's a YOLO, whatever this thing is, Switch professional, chime in. I need to make sure all my comments are rolling. Actually, I may have missed a few. Sorry, guys. Sorry about that. Don't shoot me. All right. Anyway, anybody got any questions before I roll on out of here today? What do you think the chances of sir? What do you think I can actually do? Like, let's put a number on this. I'm willing to bet on myself. Who thinks that I can? Who thinks that? Let's just put some bets out here. Who thinks that I can hit 5 million? I know I can hit 5 million. Who thinks I can hit 5 million? No one thinks I can hit 5 million. Okay, that's awesome. So I guess no one thinks I can do 10 or the 100. Okay, that's fine. That's hilarious, actually. Because y'all, there's a good possibility, like what Ford said. What did he say? He said, you know what, man? If you think you can, you're right. And if you think you can't, you're right too. And I do believe that that is the end all, where it all begins. And it's all about reality, right? Like I don't know, like why would this always kills me. Like people think that other people are more important than them because of some dollar value. Like dollar is just a bullshit made up thing between people. Like your life is more important than any dollar amount on planet Earth. Your life is worth more than all the money, all the cars, all the houses, all the shit. There's nothing more important on planet Earth than you and your individual life. I'm sorry. That's just how I feel. Actually, I'm not apologizing. If you don't like it, kiss my ass. I'm done. I don't care. Because the way I see it, you are important. And you know what? I'll go up against anybody on that one. So if we can establish that we are the most important thing, so the most important thing we have is our time. So just because you got more money and you're sitting at the $100 million club, doesn't mean my time isn't just as valuable because I'm just as important as you are. See where that alpha comes in from when I was a kid? Say that I think I can go. Now that I've got my mind on this, now I'm ready to go take it. I want it. So I'm going to, I don't even know why I want 100 million. Maybe I need a psychologist. Oh, well, who needs a psychologist? I just want the 100 mil. So that's what that's what my play is. All right, guys, I am at 45 minutes on this episode, so I guess I better do it or there won't be nothing for tomorrow. Meanwhile, tune in tomorrow. We're going to be talking. I'm not sure what the subject's going to be tomorrow, but whatever it is, I'm sure it'll be interesting, at least to me. Hopefully to you, and I hope I haven't bored you too bad. All right, peace and love, man. We love you, man. We're from the RVA. We're on the East Coast, and we'll be back tomorrow. And also, I'm going to be putting some shorts up. I'm going to be introducing some of my animals I have, which are cool. I love my reptiles. Anyway, peace out, guys. And then I have to hit this button. And then I have to say end. And just like that,